In this lecture, we are going to look at the other half of alignment options. Starting off with the first icon that we have here, which is this AB kind of an icon, which is called orientation. So for example, if you want to change the way your text looks like, if you want to rotate it clockwise, counterclockwise, or even if you want to make it vertical, you can simply click on the icon and choose the style that you want. So for example, here we have Excel written. If you want to make it vertically lined up here, so you can select vertical text, click on it, and if you increase the row height to look at your entire text, you will see Excel written vertically. If you want to bring it back to the original state, you can simply go back to that icon and whatever is selected in blue, which means that it is active right now, you can simply click on it to deactivate it. So if you click on it again, your cell will revert back to the original way that it was in, right? Next is decrease indent and increase indent, which basically helps you decide how much space you want from the border. So right now we have it as bottom left aligned. So your text is here. If you want to have just a little bit of space between your left border and your text, you can increase the indent, which is increase the space between your border and your data. So if I click on increase indent, we have just a small amount of space between the border and your data. If you want to decrease it, you can again click on just decrease indent and it will come back to the original state. If it was right aligned, and if you want to increase the gap, again, you could just click on increase indent and it would move just a tad bit towards the left. So that's increase and decrease indent. Now let's talk about two important functions in Excel, which is wrap text and merge and center. They are really simple, but are used quite commonly. So starting off with wrap text, imagine that I have a text written here, or why not even open a new sheet for this example. To do that, you can also click on new sheet here. So if you click on this, you have a new sheet inserted in your workbook. You can also rename this. So for example, if I want to rename this as just an example sheet, I can simply right click on it and select rename. Or I can even double click on the sheet name to change it. So if I double click, I can now edit the name as well. So I can just call this example sheet. Okay. What I can also do is zoom in inside my workbook. So I can select the scroll bar here or even click on the zoom in button to zoom in my workbook. Now let's say I have a sentence here. For example, Excel is my favorite application. Full stop. Here you can see that the text in which that I have written this sentence in is just this much. So it's starting from here and ending here. But the data that I have inside that cell is not fitting till here. It's going outside that cell, outside that box. So it's kind of overflowing. Now, if you want to fit your entire data, your entire sentence, for example, in this cell, what you can do is click on wrap text. It basically changes the height of your row to fit in the entire data. It keeps the column width same. It only changes the row height. So if I click on wrap text, now it adjusts my row height to fit in my entire data. It will not change my column width. And this is actually dynamic. By dynamic, I mean that if you change your data, this height will also change. So for example, if I write, it is made by Microsoft and hit enter, now Excel has automatically changed the height of my row to fit in the new additional data. So that's the use of wrap text. It will change the row height, keep the column width same, and try to fit in your entire data within that cell. When it comes to merge and center, let's take another example. So let's say I'm writing data of COVID cases in Maharashtra, okay, specifically to Maharashtra, no other state. So let's say I have a few details of patients. So let's say I have total cases, okay. I have active cases, then I have recovered, okay, and then also deaths, for example. Now, all this data, let's say we have 1000 cases, we have out of that 200 active, 700 recovered, and 100 deaths. Now, I want to show the end user, the one that I'm sending this file to, that this is data for Maharashtra. So how do I do that? I can simply start writing Maharashtra, like this. Now, what about this column? I also want to tell the user this active cases is also for Maharashtra. So should I again start typing Maharashtra here, do the same for recovered, do the same for deaths? Not really. Instead of doing that, what we can do is merge all these 4 cells into one big cell, which will tell that whatever is under it is representing Maharashtra. So if I delete this cell, what I can do is simply select all my 4 cells. So I can simply start off with the first cell, drag it across to this cell, and click on merge and center. As the name tells you, it will simply merge all the cells that are selected, and whatever data you had inside it will be centered. So if I click on merge and center, now as you can see, it's one big cell. At the top, you have small cells, but because we have merged this cell, it has become one big cell. You can see it because of the green borders around it. Okay, so it's one big cell here. So I can simply write down Maharashtra like this, and now it will tell you that the entire data below this, that is A, B, C, D column, is representing Maharashtra. So that's how you can merge a cell. If you want to come back to your original state, if you want to again have 4 individual cells, you can again simply click on merge and center. So when you have merge and center active in a particular cell, this will be dark gray. Okay, so normally you can see all the selections that we have, center, align, merge and center, all of this is a bit more dark. It's a bit of a dark gray color as compared to the rest of the buttons that we have here. So that means that this button or this function is active here. If you want to deactivate it, simply click on it again, and now you will have 4 individual cells. As you can see, now we have 4 individual cells, and the data that we had in the merged cell will go to the first cell. Okay, so if I want to again bring it back to one big cell, I can simply select it again, merge and center, and the data for the first cell will be given to all the 4 cells into a one big cell here. So that's it for merge and center, and that's it for this lecture. And in the next lecture, we'll be looking at number formatting options.